All right, today we are digging into Alamos Gold, ticker AGI. We're going to grab our Peter Lynch playbook and figure out, is this gold miner a true hidden gem, or is it just another rock in the ground? Let's jump right in.
So at its core, the story here is, well, it's about as simple as it gets. Alamos Gold's whole business is getting gold out of the ground. I mean, it's one of the oldest gigs in human history, right? But for us, the big question, the real question, is whether the stock is the actual treasure.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First up, we'll cover the simple story of AGI. Then, we'll look at the gold-making machine itself. After that, it's time for Lynch's verdict and a price check. Then, we'll dive into the bull case, followed by the bear case, and we'll wrap it all up with your bottom line on AGI.
All right, first up, the simple story of AGI, from the ground up. So let's start at square one. What is it that these guys actually do?
Well, to put it simply, Alamos is what you'd call an intermediate gold producer. They pretty much stick to North America. Their whole business model is find gold, dig it up, and sell it. That's it. Their entire strategy really revolves around using these big, long-lasting mines to get a nice, steady, and predictable stream of gold production.
Okay, let's talk about the gold-making machine. This is where the revenue comes from. So, where does the rubber meet the road? Or, I guess in this case, where does the gold meet the mill? Let's take a look at their operational engine. So what's really interesting when you look at this is that Alamos is definitely not a one-trick pony. For 2025, you can see their production is pretty nicely spread out. Yeah, Island Gold is the big one at 47%, but look at Young-Davidson and Mulatos. They're both pulling some serious weight. And that diversification, that's absolutely crucial. They are not putting all their eggs in one mine, so to speak.
You should really think of these three districts as the company's core engines, right? They're the workhorses, one in Mexico and two in Canada, that are just churning out the cash. And that's the cash they need to fund everything else. And that includes some very ambitious growth plans, which we are absolutely going to get to in just a minute.
All right, Section 3, Lynch's verdict and price check. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Let's put on our investor hat. If the legend himself, Peter Lynch, were looking at Alamos Gold today, how would he classify it? Let's run it through his famous framework.
So what kind of stock is Alamos Gold? I mean, this is the central question, isn't it? Is this a slow grower, kind of like a utility company? Is it a high-risk turnaround play? Or is it something else? Because the answer really shapes how we should think about its future potential.
Okay, so what's the verdict? Well, first, Lynch would almost certainly classify Alamos as a fast grower. I mean, they're targeting a whopping 83% jump in production. But, and this is a big but, it's also in a cyclical industry. That means it's always going to be tied to the price of gold. Now for the GARP check, that's growth at a reasonable price. And this is where it gets compelling. They pass with flying colors because all this growth, it's being funded internally from their own strong free cash flow. We're talking no new debt, no issuing more shares and diluting existing owners, and the balance sheet proves it. Cash is growing to over $600 million while debt is getting paid down. That is a beautiful sight for a growth company.
So that brings us to the bull case, growth ahead. Let's dig into that growth story a little more. What are the key things, the catalysts, that could really send this stock soaring?
Honestly, the whole bull case just comes to life when you look at this chart. These numbers, this is what the company itself is projecting for free cash flow. And remember, that's the actual cash left over after paying all the bills and funding their growth projects. Just look at that incredible jump starting in 2026. That right there is the massive payoff the bulls are banking on.
So the whole argument for the bulls really boils down to four key things. Number one, two huge expansion projects, Island Gold and the new Lynn Lake mine. Number two, these projects are set to push their total production towards that incredible target of nearly 1 million ounces a year. Number three, if gold prices cooperate, the company thinks this could generate over $1 billion a year in free cash flow. Just wow. And finally, number four, they've got a fortified balance sheet. They have the cash on hand to do all this without taking on more debt. It's a really clear, super ambitious plan. Okay, but let's be real. No investment is a sure thing, right? There are always risks, and big, ambitious plans often run into big challenges. So that brings us to the bear case. What are the potential pitfalls here? What could go wrong for Alamos Gold? So you've got this scale, right? On one side, you've got the bull case, the amazing expansion projects, the huge free cash flow growth, that strong balance sheet. But on the other side, you've got the bear case, and these risks are very real. The number one risk is just execution. Building these massive, complicated mines is incredibly difficult. Delays happen, costs go over budget, and on top of that, they've already had some cost overruns this year. And of course, there's the big one you can never forget, the cyclical price of gold. If gold tanks, this whole beautiful story gets a lot less pretty.
And look, this isn't just some hypothetical risk. Check out this number. 12%. That's how much the company had to increase its guidance for all-in sustaining costs for 2025. That's basically the total cost to get 1 ounce of gold out of the ground. Management even admitted it was a challenge. So it's a huge flashing reminder that execution is never guaranteed. You can bet the bears are watching very, very closely to see if they can get those costs back under control.
All right, let's wrap this all up. Section 6, your bottom line on AGI and what to watch for next. So, after weighing the bull case against the bear case, what's the takeaway? And what should you be keeping an eye on?
Okay, here is your bottom line. If you're following Alamos Gold, you need to be laser-focused on 3 things going forward. First, their production reports. Simple question, are they hitting their growth targets? Yes or no? Second, those all-in sustaining costs, or AISC. Is that key cost metric heading down the way they projected? And third, project milestones. Are the Island Gold and Lynn Lake expansions staying on schedule and on budget? See the theme here? It all comes down to one word: execution.
And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? It all boils down to this one final question. They've got this massive growth story on the horizon. The plan is ambitious, the vision is clear, the funding is there. But can they actually execute? Can Alamos management turn these ambitious plans into actual shareholder gold? That right there is the billion-dollar question.